Hello and welcome to another Dragon Plus live stream where we talk about more of the content heading into each issue of Dragon Plus online magazine, as well as the design development and the running of said content in your games. Today we have some special guests with us talking about Dungeons & Dragons, but in a slightly different format than the tabletop role-playing game, but still very familiar to fans of Dungeons & Dragons. Seated next to me is Randall Bills from Catalyst Game Labs.
Thanks for having me on. This is going to be exciting. I'm excited.
Excellent. Yes, it will be, because we're gonna play test. Well, not play test. We're gonna play through a bit of Dragonfire, which, if memory serves, is coming out very, very, very soon.
Actually, tomorrow. It officially streets finally for those that have been waiting a while. So run to your local game stores and check it out, and we'll be showing it off here.
So we'll be running through a bit of Dragonfire. If folks do have questions about the game or the gameplay, please put them in chat. Preface them with question, and I will do my best not to ignore them as I am wont to do.
So this is my daughter, Rihanna Bills, and I forced her to slave away with me during some playtesting. So I thought I'd give her some of the extra benefits. She's been in her home D&D game and knows Dragonfire fairly well, so I dragged her out of school and brought her along to geek out with us today. So. And
we were talking before the stream. This is far more education than you'll ever get in
Absolutely.
In a similar hour of school, right?
Yep.
And joining us as an added player for Dragonfire is Lauren Urban, of course, from Destiny and Doom.
Yep.
Welcome, Lauren.
Always happy to play games that I know nothing about, but have dragons and all kinds of fun stuff.
So just as a quick reminder, Destiny and Doom is off for the next couple of weeks, although this Thursday we will have a vodcast of episode. Did we settle on episode 1?
I think that's what we settled on. Okay. Episode 1 for people who haven't watched any of the episodes, and I'll be in chat during the vodcasts answering questions and laughing at myself, and hopefully some of the other cast will be who are able to. But yeah, and then the week after that is American Thanksgiving, so no episode then. But then we'll be back.
Then we'll be yes.
Then we'll be back.
Same with Dragon Plus, actually. We'll be off for the next couple of weeks for the Thanksgiving holidays. But in any case, how did the episode go this week?
Well, no bunnies were set on fire, so that was good.
Was that a risk?
It always is. You put something fluffy in front of players and they will set it on fire. And they met a new friend in a flump, and we'll see what happens next.
That was the joke. It's nothing fluffy, but something flumpy.
Very flumpy.
Okay.
That's correct. Are there flumps in this game?
Not yet.
You should have a flump.
Surprisingly, we were just talking about the fact that I've already built so many encounters for this, and yet there's still whole swaths, like most of the Underdark creatures, I haven't remotely got to yet. So there's so much more cool to come down the line.
So for folks that are not familiar with Dragonfire, we do have the product page up, and you can, of course, go to Catalyst Game Labs website to find out more. And we just mentioned in 12 hours you'll be flying off to PAX Unplugged to
Absolutely. Please come out. We'll be running tons of demos and have a stack of games to sell, so you can check it out there as well.
But for folks that might not be aware of the game yet, how would you introduce it?
So Dragonfire is a cooperative deck building game. And there's lots of great deck building games out. I've played, I'm pretty sure, every single one of them. Most of them are not cooperative in any way, shape. And coming into this and thinking about Dungeons & Dragons, it's all about the party. It's all about cooperation. That's everything about Dungeons & Dragons is that, and so we wanted to make sure that the game itself really accentuated that. And absolutely, you have to be there helping each other out. There are times when I've had to flog the rogue. No, you can't hold back. You have to come in and actually attack. No, you can't buy the card that you want. You got to buy this card for this turn, and so there's some great back and forth, some really great, very role-playing style dynamics that unfold in this game.
So how does it work in terms of setup? Is there players and a dungeon master? Is it all players? When you break out the game, how do you?
So there is no dungeon master. So what we have in the game, so we got our nice great box back here. So you'll go through and you'll select a series of adventures, and there's some guidelines in that'll kind of point you to the right one. dungeon crawl, which is what this setup is.
And we've got one on the screen right
Oh,
now.
perfect.
I know that the components will be a little hard to see for folks on camera, so we wanted to talk through a bit of what's going on.
Sure.
And we'll have some components that we can showcase on screen as well.
Yeah, so that's actually the start. So there's 7 total adventure cards in the base game. 2 of them, the Dungeon Crawl and the Portcullis' Breached, are kind of standalone. And the Dungeon Crawl is really the one that I think a lot of people are going to go back and play over and over and over again. And then Wastes of Ancient Empire is the first of then the campaign, which is An Ancient Evil Arises, which will transport you through this great story that we have in the game. We even have a little full adventure booklet with some fiction, again, trying to accentuate that role-playing element of it. So then this this adventure card is going to tell you everything you need to know about which adventure decks you grab, how many scenes are going to be involved, how many monsters are going to roll up out of the encounter decks, and so on. So in this game, for the Dungeon Crawl, it's 3 scenes, and after each scene, you get a short rest, where you're going to heal a little bit, you're going to get some cards, and then you move on to the next scene.
Okay.
And then if you've completed the 3rd scene, then you actually complete the adventure and you get experience points. So in this, we have the Dungeon 1 encounter deck, the Dungeon 2 encounter deck, market cards, and then obviously our character screens.
Okay.
Now there's a lot of different character screens. In this instance, we have a rogue, cleric, fighter, and wizard, pretty much the quintessential characters.
And I think we're going to show up some
Oh, perfect.
characters right
Hey.
now so folks can take a look at
Yeah.
what it is we're looking at. So
then what we have there is the screen tells you everything you need to know about how to set up. And we actually have Lauren over here who the rest of us kind of set up. Lauren hadn't finished setting up. So if you'll notice that right in the center, there's something called the equipment pack, and there's a series of icons. And what that is the basic cards that you're then going to build into what will then become your draw deck. So in this instance, she's a human mage, and so she is going to get 4 basic cantrips, and she's going to get 1 grace, and 1 stealth, and 1 glory. And then she's going to shuffle those up, and that's going to be her equipment pack.
So the icons in the equipment pack will indicate which cards you're going to equip your player with.
Absolutely. So for mine, I have 4 grace, and a glory, and a cantrip, and a stealth. And then over here with the half-orc fighter, it's 5 glories, and a cantrip, grace, and stealth, and so on. So every single one of these individual cards, the combination of race and its player class creates a slightly unique experience every time. So even just the basic cards you're going to get. And you may think that even just 1 card change out may not make that much difference, but it actually does. So as you're playing it, you immediately feel as though you're a slightly different race, a slightly different character. Okay? So Lauren has all that. Now, if you look on the left-hand side then from the equipment pack, you then have a little spread of cards. This is how many cards you're going to draw into your hand. Did you already shuffle those, Lauren?
I did.
So then go ahead and draw your 4 cards.
Okay.
And then below that is the gold icon. How much gold do you get?
I get 4.
4. Nice.
Can we throw up the character card again
Sure.
so folks can, there we go. So again, under the equipment pack, those are the types and the number of cards that you're going to draw for your character.
Correct. And then to the left, the 3 icons right below name,
Yep.
you have the starting cards,
Okay.
you have the gold, and then you have your hit points. And the hit points is you're going to just take a clip, and you're going to slide it in on the top, wherever that might be. So for the fighter that's up there on the screen, it would be the 10, and then the Sun Elf Wizard is only at a 5, so obviously you want to protect the wizards because, wizards die easily.
The squishy.
I'm squishy.
They're squishy.
It happens.
Okay. So then the last thing you do as part of setup, now we're not going to do that, but most players, as they're coming and grabbing the box set, they're going to play the quick start rules. We had some great reviewers point out that They only wanted to play like 2 or 3 rounds of the quick start rules, and then they got it enough, and then they wanted to immediately move on.
Yeah.
And absolutely, that's awesome. The only reason we do the quick start rules is, one, it allows us to pull out a few of the little more complex elements, like the Dragonfire deck or location encounters.
Okay.
The other thing it allows us then is, if looking at the card, if you remember, for those who are just seeing it, there are slots on either side, okay? And those are for stickers. And there's a whole pile of stickers, okay? But the first thing you do is, once you've played that quick start adventure, you're going to know just enough of the game to grab your background sticker and place it in slot 1.
Any
Okay.
game that involves stickers, I'm all for.
Absolutely. Gotta have a little bit of a legacy element. And then the backgrounds are all straight out of the player's handbook, which was always fun. And so these are just a one-shot ability to show you a little bit about how these features are going to work. And then as you complete adventures and get more experience points, you're then going to be able to filling them up with some really amazing features.
So I've stickered my character. So now this is a background. This is a trait that he retains from game to game.
Absolutely. Again, bringing that legacy element in, this then is going to be yours, and you will be building it up. You'll be getting magic items and all these things that will be tied to the particular character screen, the particular character that you're playing.
Super cool.
Okay.
And how
So-
many characters come in the box?
So in the base game, there are 16 of them. For just a second, I forgot. So a couple of them are doubled up because of the humans that are in there. At the same time, we have the Heroes of the Sword Coast coming out with the game tomorrow, and that actually includes 32 additional character screens, and also introduces the Bard, Ranger, Druid, and Warlock. As I was just mentioning to them, the Heroes of the Sword Coast, everything we have in the warehouse is out in the wild. So if you're thinking you really want your Bard or your Warlock or something like that, then absolutely run out and grab that. Obviously, we'll be reprinting it, but that's where we're at. So we're then all set up, okay?
All
So,
right.
we're kind of ready to, we've got all our character screens ready.
Yep.
Okay. And so then what you would do is you would then read on the particular adventure, and because I know what I'm talking about, obviously, what you're going to do is we're going to start with the difficulty 1 encounters, and we're going to roll up a number of encounters equal to the number of players.
Okay.
So we're going to get 4, and this is the first scene. Okay. And the very first card that rolls up, okay, we're going to show that off. Can they see that maybe? Blue, it's Minotaur. Okay. So it's blue, so it immediately goes to the blue player, which is Lauren. See how that matches the screen?
Okay.
So it immediately comes over here. And then the rest are simply going to rotate around. So then the swarming zombie. Okay, so the swarming zombie gets some tokens. Okay. Tokens,
Yay,
the
tokens.
encounter tokens are simply ways to show the swarm, a whole bunch of extra creatures, which really reflects the D&D flavor. Okay.
But
and
if you had picked a
so-
card with a different color that matched a different player, it would have started with somebody else?
Correct.
Okay.
Did I not shuffle these? I'm going to feel a little sheepish here if I did not shuffle these. I thought I did.
You can-
Okay, there we do.
You
Yeah.
can blame me because I was messing with the materials before the show.
Oh, so okay, so it is your fault. No, that's okay. It's just a little unusual to get 3 blue right in a row, but that's okay. Okay, so scarily enough, the Roper is arguably the most dangerous encounter in this Dungeon 1 deck, so that's a little scary. And the Red Slod. So we've got a pretty good dangerous thing here. Okay, so now we've got these creatures laid out again. So this is the creatures they're going to face in scene 1. There's a chance that some additional creatures might come out
Okay.
based on other factors, but this is generally what we're going to face.
I was just going to talk to Pelham. If we've got some of the monsters, we can show those up
Oh,
on
sure.
the screen.
There we go, Green Slod. Oh, he's very powerful. Okay, so now let's go ahead and describe this then.
Sure. So as these monsters, each one of us now at the table has a monster in front of
We
us.
have a monster in front of us. So you have the name up at the top.
Yep.
On the left-hand side is the gold icon, the top left. That's how much gold he's going to pay out to the party when you defeat him. The text down at the bottom is a variety of text. If there's a surprise, it means that it activates instantly as soon as it comes out. If it says vanquished, like the Minotaur over here, once you defeat it, then you get to apply that effect. It's usually a good effect. Okay. Then down the right-hand side is the damage track. Okay. This is the damage that must be applied to defeat it. And so for the Shambling Mound that's just up there, there's 3 devotion encounters.
And those are the green ones.
Those are the green icons, and that means that you must play a card with that icon on it to be able to defeat that.
And these are the cards in our hand.
These are the cards in your hand, okay? So for example, I have a grace. In fact, I have 3 graces in my hand. So I can immediately go hit, 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 okay? But let's go ahead and say I only had 2 of them, and I had 2 other colors, then I could only do those top 2.
Okay.
You must do it top to bottom. And then the last one, the colorless, the 4, any color can be applied to that. Now, for those paying really close attention, they'll notice that the Shambling Mound 4 was a square, whereas on some of the other encounter cards, it was a circle, like on the Minotaur, or actually most of these. What that means is there is some abilities, like your Rogue, as a matter of fact.
There we go.
There we go, the
that
5.
right now.
So your Rogue, one of his absolute best cards, is the Backstab card, which you got to get out of the market. You don't start with it.
Oh.
That allows you to simply defeat a level.
Oh.
So even if it was, say, a 10, it would be able to defeat it. Except if it's a square, it's immune to level damage. So then I still got to scrounge up the 5 points in various points.
Now, as I look at these monsters, and we're looking at the damage tracker, those are the cards that you have to apply to these monsters to cause that damage and get rid of it. Do they have to be applied in order?
Yes, they have to be applied top to bottom. Unless, because there's always an unless in such games, there is, again, one of your cards, a feint, that you could actually play with another card, and that card damage can then be played however you want in whatever order. But that's a very small exception to the normal rule, which is must go top to bottom.
And can we play? Can we only play 1 card per player at a time?
Oh,
or
no.
If I have 3, I can play all 3 at once.
Yeah, you can play as many cards as you want in your hand. One of the quick things you'll learn, though, is there's times when not to play. There's times when, you know what, I could hit this 1 point on yours, but I've got a 5 point on mine, and I've got 3 cards in my hand. I need to build some power.
Okay.
So I need to hold that. So then the way a round is going to unfold. Actually, we're just to back up something. We're actually missing something really important, and that is the Dragonfire deck. And the Dragonfire deck is the GM. He is the Orc Drums in the Barrens. He is the Night Riders coming after you in the dark. It's the pressure that keeps on the game. So every time that card starts coming up, you're a little terrified about what is this going to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Rihanna go ahead and roll up because we're set. Everything else is done. So she would roll up the very first card. You have a little bit of flavor to set our scene. And then she will read what's actually the rule that would apply to the first round.
Okay.
So why don't you go ahead, love?
Okay, it's called Old Enemies, and the flavor text is, hatred burns in their eyes like the fires of Avernus. No quarter is asked nor given, this fight shall be to the death. For too long have you pushed against the darkness, today the dark pushes back. And then the continuous is, at the start of each turn, the active player reveals a card from the top of the primary encounter deck. If it matches their character's primary class type, place it facing that character, otherwise bury it.
So this is a great way right out of the gate, okay? So it has a little continuous symbol on it,
Okay.
which means that it must apply to every person. Sometimes it may not have a symbol, so it just applies at the start of the round. So what that means then, Rihanna would be starting the game.
And we do have a couple of
One
encounters.
of the Dragonfires. I don't know if you have that one, but you definitely have some Dragonfire.
Not that one, but we've got a couple that we can show up just to take a look at.
Oh, Goblin Uprising, one of my all-time favorites. So yeah, so that's, again, this is that moment of like, oh my gosh, suddenly goblins are spewing up out of the ground at us and we have to deal with it. And so place a humanoid token of, takes 1 colorless damage to destroy it. He's doing 1 attack back to you on your turn in front of every player. Now you'll notice these little dragon heads with numbers on it. Okay, so what's going to happen is we're going to get to the end of the round. If we have not completed the scene, meaning killed every encounter that's out there, this Dragonfire then goes in the discard, and this then becomes Dragonfire level 1.
Okay.
And then a new one rolls up. Then we play around the scene again, and then it keeps going. So if there's 3 cards in there, meaning we have done 3 complete plays and that card came up, then not only would everyone get one token, but if any player has a regular encounter, we would get another token. And you can see all the way up to 9, which I've only had that happen once. Every token then is a 3/3, which is ridiculously brutal. I think we made it, but it was pretty bad. So then the way you control this a little bit, as soon as you stop and clear a scene, the card that's on top of this immediately gets buried. It does not go in the discard. So you're able to stop a little bit of that pressure. Okay.
All right, so to kind of recap where we are, we've picked our characters,
Yep.
we have our party, we are going into our sample adventure, which is a straight-up dungeon crawl.
Yep.
We now have our cards for the powers that we can do, and we've now selected our first round of monsters.
Yep.
And sort of this first encounter danger that's overlaying the game as well.
Exactly. So do you think we're ready to let Rihanna take her first?
I was just going to ask, are we ready
I'm
to...
jumping ahead then. I'm jumping over you. Okay. So then Rihanna will go ahead and take her first turn. Now the first thing, so as the party leader, which is what Rihanna is,
Now, what determined that?
okay, so the Dragonfire, whoever's in charge of the Dragonfire deck becomes the leader.
Okay.
Okay. And players can learn to do it however they want. Generally, we suggest whoever has the most hit points, which is generally going to be your fighter, is the one that should be pulling this up.
Okay.
And the reason why is because often this can do the worst damage the closer it is to you. And so you're farthest away, Lauren, because we're going to go all the way around the table before this might come up. And you want the, of course, squishy wizard to be as far away from the Dragonfire level as possible.
So what I'm hearing is you put your own daughter in the greatest position.
Absolutely.
of
She
danger.
rocks
Yep.
this danger. She rocks it. So absolutely.
Also, it sounds like
She-
they'll be jockeying for
she-
position around the table. Like, no, I don't want to sit there. I want to
Absolutely,
sit over there. I
absolutely.
want to, yeah.
Well, and she's been doing gymnastics forever, so she could bench press all of us, I'm
All
pretty
right.
sure, so definitely. Okay, so then she has to take care of the card. So the first thing she is going to do is reveal the, is that the market deck? Or the
Don't know.
primary encounter deck. Sorry, for just a second my brain checked out.
That's
So
fair.
that is the primary encounter deck.
Okay.
So she's going to roll that up. So then it does not match her primary color, which is the black of her character screen. So that simply gets buried back under that.
Okay.
And now she doesn't have to face that effect.
So that's no
Yay.
harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul. However, every time we start our turn, we're then going to have to do the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. So sometimes that could add 2 or even 3 encounters to a game.
And we
gotta
don't-
figure out.
we don't
want
want a match.
more encounters. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. So Rihanna, go ahead. So she starts out with 4 cards.
And now, what's her primary goal for this turn right now? Is she looking to defeat the monster in front of her? Is she looking to defeat any monster around the table? Or-
Okay. So the important thing, and you know, we only have an hour here, so trying to cram all this great info in, is absolutely after the first scene rolls up, you as a group kind of want to look around and go, okay, what is the most dangerous one? What is the one we need to go at the most? And you're right to point
The
at this
roper.
and go, holy cow, this has got to go. Okay. The difference, though, okay, is you have to balance that. For example, if this was against the mage, then we would really be like, okay, we've got to take care of this thing. Okay. However, the roper has one of the nastiest abilities, which is when roper damages a character, it heals 1 level. Okay. So if she took all 4 of her cards and did it on 4, and then she's going to go, do you have a blue? And I'm going to go, I don't even have a blue. So I would not be able to do anything, and then the roper would heal right back off that.
So you really have.
So you have to be asking each other,
Yeah.
are you going to be able to help me out with that creature? Now, if I had a blue, then I would immediately hit the blue and hit the next 2, because then it's going to heal 1, and we're going to lose a little bit of damage. But to lose 4 damage, that's too much.
So when you say cooperative game, you mean it. It's not just working together to defeat the monsters. It's table talking what your capabilities and cards are.
What can you do? What can you bring to the table? Do you have this particular color I need? Once you get a little further into it, magic items start coming into your game. By further, I mean, you know, many gains into it further. Really cool magic items start coming in, and you'll be like, hey, do you have this ability that you can help me out with? But the second most important thing to do, this is a deck builder.
Yes.
It's all about getting these cool market cards into our decks, which means gold.
Okay.
So beyond looking at what is the most dangerous card and what we can do with it, the second most important thing is what is the creature you can kill the fastest to inject gold in our economy so we can immediately buy super cool more cards. So in this instance then, she is going to be looking, okay? And so that blue is going to stymie us. There's just lots of blues we're having to deal with, okay? However, so then I'm pretty sure he's going to have 2 reds in his hand, okay? So in this instance, and now the red slot is a pile of gold. 10 is a huge amount of gold. But he can potentially summon something when he dies. Still totally worth it, I think.
To get rid of him.
To get rid of him.
Okay.
So I think the best move is Rihanna is going to start on him, and it's going to take all 3 of us to do this on each of our turns.
So for
does
folks that
sound like a
can't
plan?
see it, the red slot, he requires 4
4 colorless,
and 3 colorless.
and then 3 colorless. Those are 2 different levels.
And then 2
then
red.
a red and a red, which are 2 deception. So I think Rihanna agrees. We're going to start out.
1, 2, 3,
So what she would
4.
do is she would simply say, I'm playing these cards, okay? And then the player who's facing it, he'd be like, awesome. So I get to put this little clip on there, and now he's been wounded. That first level is gone.
So where did you
Okay.
put the 4 cards?
So she just put them in her discard.
Okay.
So you play them out here. So again, just to kind of sum up the round, now that we've talked about the structure of how all of that, on a round, you're going to do movement, if any, and we haven't gotten to that because nothing came up.
Right.
Then you're going to play cards. If there's effects on your cards, you're going to play them right at that moment. The basic cards that we have don't have any text effects.
Okay.
Because they're basic. You then apply damage, okay, which she did. When you're done applying damage, the cards are going to go in your discard. You then enter the take damage phase. Now, Rihanna could have used 2 of her cards to kill this token. Usually that would be a good thing to do. But in this instance, we needed her extra damage to take the red slot down by the end of your turn, and she's a fighter. She's got hit points to spare. So she's going to go ahead and take 3 damage, and that's because there's an attack strength of 2 on the encounter, and the token itself has an attack strength of 1.
Okay.
So all of that hit her at once.
The leader's taking it for the team.
The
right?
party leader's taking it for the tree, okay? Then she hits the replenish phase, and in the replenish phase, she is going to draw 2 cards. Now, what that is if you have 3 or fewer cards in your hand, you simply replenish 2.
Okay.
Okay, that's all it is.
And it's 2 regardless of how many you
Regardless
get as
of
your class.
anything else,
Okay.
except, of course, there are some really nasty cards that specifically target the replenish phase. And those are the most dangerous cards. You may not think it, but not replenishing it is a terrible thing. Okay, so then Rihanna has the market phase. And unfortunately, because she's a half-orc fighter, she starts with really very little gold, okay? There's only a perception in there. I don't think, she could get the perception, she could not, totally up to her. So one of the things you'll see is, generally speaking, you want to buy on color.
Okay.
Meaning red is red, okay? So she doesn't necessarily want that. Now, it's not too terrible to buy off color, though, you know, Talon and his wizard would never, ever, ever, ever buy off color. So it's kind of, now, the reason why I say buy off color, and we haven't run into it yet, is there's something called a skill check and saves. This is one of the brand new mechanics that we introduced into the game that really brings the D&D flavor to life. And a skill check is, I'm going to reveal the top card of my deck, and if it matches my color, I succeed. If it didn't, I fail, and then I'm going to bury it. So you'll immediately start seeing that if you buy more and more off color, you're going to mess up your skill checks.
Gotcha.
And most of the time, you're going to do about 60, 70% success right out of the base game. But the more you buy off color, the more you start potentially messing with that. Though again, the rogue has a great set of features, which are the stickers, that allow him to actually build it off color on purpose. So there's lots of cool ways to do that. So I don't think she's going to buy anything.
I am
correct?
not going to buy anything.
She's not going to buy anything. So then, even if you don't buy anything, you're going to cycle the deck, which is you are simply going to roll up the next one. Oh, that would have been nice for her to get. And then this must replace one of the ones that are in there. We already have 2 Misty Steps, so I think we're going to be okay
And we
a
get to
Misty
choose
Step.
which one it's
You
replacing?
get to choose.
Okay.
But it comes up and it must go in. So there are times like this where, hey, that's great. She is going to love this card next turn. But there's other times where all the cards are magnificent. Everyone wants them. And then even that, you have a moment of the party arguing about, no, I don't want to lose that card. Don't throw it away. So again, lots of opportunities for fun party interaction. So then her turn is all done.
All right, so the leader has done her turn.
So then it is on to me. Okay. Once again, as much as I want to hit this, I am a cleric. Cleric has plenty hit points, and I would much rather have the gold that is going to be coming out.
Gotcha.
So on my turn, I'm going to go ahead. So another thing you want to do is you're playing cards, and in this instance, I just need 3 colorless. So I could do any of these. But I actually want to kind of look out there and see what other colors might be needed. She's going to have black covered very well. There's a green right there. So I think I'm going to actually go ahead and hold the green just to make sure in case that's needed there. So then I would play these 3 cards, and you would just slide this down to the next level gone. Okay, I'm going to take that 2 points. That's going to hurt, but for the party once again.
So you're taking the damage because you still have a monster on you.
Because I still have on me.
Okay.
Now, if I had destroyed the monster during the deal damage phase, then he would be gone, and the take damage phase is right after it, and he wouldn't be there, so I wouldn't take any damage. But he's still there, he's still facing me. So again, we're all like in close proximity in that dungeon, and Rihanna decided to throw her sword across the way, ignoring the swarming zombie to get at the red slot. Nice throwing the sword, by the way. So that's kind of the visual that you're trying to create in your minds as you're telling the story of how we're playing.
Our party's entered a room in the dungeon, and we've faced all these monsters, and we're all trying to figure out the best strategy to get rid of them.
So then I'm replenishing. I only have 1 card left, so I'm replenishing 2 cards. I actually do have enough money to buy, but once again, I don't think any of those I want, really. So I think I will actually hold as well. So then I will, twist the knife. That is, so I'm just going to go ahead and read this card off. Okay. So it costs 5 gold to buy. So it's kind of pricey.
And it's a red card, so
It's a red
my
card.
rogue is immediately
Red card
interested in it.
immediately intrigued. It does 2 deception damage. However, and then it has a specialty which requires deception purchase, which means you cannot buy it on a turn unless that turn you played a deception card, which, by the way, you're about to do.
I'm about to, right.
And then as an assist, okay, no, this is the first time we've gotten to assist. So far as we've been taking the turns, you guys have just been sitting here looking at it, figuring out what you're going to do on your turn. Assists, though, then allow you to actually play on another player's turn. So once you get this card, thank you, Rihanna. We'll come back to that. My daughter's keeping, party leader's keeping me on track.
Yeah.
Good job, yeah. So the assist, once you buy it then it's going to come around, and let's say it's Lauren's turn. You could then play this card on her turn, and it's deal 1 level of damage. That's what we talked about. So any of these really big levels, you could just instantly chop it down.
And so that's
It's
not
an
a
awesome
point
card.
of damage. That's an
That's
entire
not a point.
level.
An entire level goes away. Yep, fantastic. So we're going to go... I don't think you're going to want your perception when you've got that. You're going to have the gold for that. Because,
Yes.
see, that's the other thing is as you're looking at it going, okay, I only have 4 gold, but he's going to die on your turn. So you know the money is going to be there. So you know, again, it's that cool interaction of trying to figure out. Now, my awesome daughter keeping me on track, I forgot, okay? So old enemies, once again, these guys are out there. So at the beginning of the turn, I should have flipped this up. Woo! Luckily, gelatinous cube doesn't mark me, so I go down, okay? So I am done.
Hey,
and
fair's fair. You put her in the lead now.
There you go. So it
correct.
is your turn, and we will remember right up front, once again, thank you, Rihanna, to do the old enemies. Let's see what happens. We are actually lucking out right here. So black to your red, nothing happens.
Okay.
Okay, so then it's going to start out for your turn.
All right, so I've got my cards.
Yep.
Yeah, I sort of shuffled them all together by
Sure.
accident. But I want to do 1 red of damage
Yep.
for the level there.
And then one more.
One more.
Okay.
So he goes all the way. We have now put all the damage on the red slot.
That
so
he
what
can
happens?
take. Okay,
That he
so
can
now
take.
now most encounters, once you do that, he's simply going to go away. In this instance, there's a vanquished ability. Now, Lauren's Minotaur has a good vanquished ability. So it's a fantastic ability.
For us or for her?
So for the
No, for us. It's a
Okay.
fantastic one for us. The red slot, on the other hand, could potentially be bad for us. So the red slot must save. Okay. So remember, the skill check for players is to roll up the top card. Okay. They do the exact same thing when they save. They're going to roll up their card. You're not doing yours.
Oh,
this
okay.
is a save.
Oh, for him. Oh,
It's
sorry.
for him.
I thought it
It's
was a card off,
No,
but
no, it's the exact same mechanic.
Gotcha.
I do have a card off in a future expansion, so we'll get that. Opposed tests.
So the red slot
Okay,
obviously
so
is a
he's
red
going to
card.
roll it up, and he wants a red card.
Yes.
We want not a red card. So then we're going to roll up.
All
so
right.
we're good. Perfect. Excellent. So nothing happens, so he's going to go away. So now we have a gold payout.
If it were a red card, though, that creature would have been summoned in his stead.
Not that one specifically. It actually will summon another slot. So this is the difficulty 1 encounter deck. We then have the difficulty 2 encounter deck, which the more dangerous monsters would be coming out later in the game. The other slots are in this deck.
Okay.
So he would immediately bring out an even more brutal creature.
Gotcha.
He only does it about a quarter of the time, so it's just enough to be wonderfully annoying.
All right. Well, my rogue wants his money.
Okay, so now, again, this is a party affair, so payouts are always shared among everyone.
Oh.
Regardless of what the rogue says, don't let them tell you different, you must share. So what's going to happen is you're going to take this value, you would start with the active player, which is you. You're going to take one, and then you simply rotate around and around the table until it's all paid out.
All right. So the red slot, he pays out 10 gold, so I'm going to take 1.
And then Lauren's going to get one.
I get one.
And then Rihanna would get one. And then I would get one. There's 4. Then there's still 6 more gold. So then we keep going around. So you get 1, 1, 1, 1. We're kind of out of ones here. We'll do some exchanges
It's
here.
3, 3, 2, 2.
Yeah, I know. Explain it to 'em.
I'm going to.
And then we'll
'cause I went
do
back.
that. And then you're going to get one more, and Lauren's going to get one more.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay. So then we got kind of the low end of the stick. And now sometimes that can be an important thing. So, for example, if Rihanna was in a position to have killed this, and you might go, hey, if I get it, I get that 1 extra gold.
Right.
And that will allow me to get 1 card. And Rihanna might be like, no, I need it. And so there still is a little bit of that fun, no, I'm going to take it my way. Okay, so then this creature is going to go away in the discard. So now we've cleared him. Now, you still had 2 cards. We've kind of jumped ahead a little bit just to show that. You actually had 2 cards. So, for example, now you can't do anything to the Minotaur. You could, however, go ahead and hit the token, okay, because it takes 2 points to kill it. The interesting thing here is tokens on the encounters. You must defeat the token first.
Okay. All
That's
right.
the
Just
swarm in the way.
A little bonus on
Little
that.
bonus.
And
Now
it's 2
you don't. It's 2 colorless.
Okay.
Now you don't have to do that. Okay. You could just decide. You know what? I want to power up a little more.
I will get rid of the token.
Nice. Good
Yay.
player. Okay. So the token's going to go away. Excellent. So now you are going to draw 2 as
Draw
the
2.
replenish.
Okay.
And then you're going to buy, and you have a good pile of gold. You did, in fact, play the stealth, so you can immediately play the 5 for that twist the knife.
Can I buy more than 1 card at a time?
Absolutely. You can buy as many cards as you have gold.
All right. Well, I will definitely buy Twist the Knife. And
Okay.
does this go into my hand
It
or
goes
into my
into
pile?
your hand. Unlike almost any deck builder out there, these go instantly in your hand and instantly be
Perception's
used.
here.
Now, Perception is a great fun card. Okay, it's 2 gold. When you play it on your turn as the active player, it's going to give you a 1 red damage. And you also get to make a skill check, and if you succeed, you get a gold.
All right.
However, you can also, as an assist, play it as a red.
Okay. Sounds handy. And
It's
I've got 2 gold.
and you got 2,
so-
absolutely.
Now, is there a maximum hand size?
Nope.
Okay.
Though, again, to be honest, you're almost never going to get more than, say, 9 or 10, and that's a really big hand because you had to have had 3 or less to replenish 2, and then you have to have had enough gold to buy a couple of cheap ones to get out to 9 or 10. But ultimately, there is no maximum hand size.
So I had a small pile of cards to draw from, which is
Correct.
diminishing. When these run out, do I need to start buying?
No. You'll
okay.
immediately take your discards and shuffle into a new draw deck.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to know.
So then you are all done. So now we're going to come over to
Yes.
Lauren here.
All right. So if I've got everything correct, the first thing I need to do is pull an enemy
Absolutely.
to see
so
if they're
you
going to
look
match
at the
my
first
blue.
card. Are we actually going to get that?
Well-
It does!
Oh.
So that immediately comes out, and you immediately get the swarming zombie token that Rihanna killed.
Yay!
Hey, buddy.
That's exciting. Okay, so now I need to decide who I'm attacking where.
Correct.
Okay.
So what is the vanquished ability on the Minotaur?
May choose any other non-location encounter and discard it. No gold is paid out.
Okay, so that would normally be a fantastic ability, and it is. Okay, but you want to balance. You might think to yourself, "Oh, we can get rid of an encounter. Let's get rid of the encounter."
But you don't
then
get
you're
any gold.
losing the gold. Exactly. Now, in this instance, the roper is terrifying. We actually may, even though that's so much wonderful gold, we actually may want to use that ability specifically to get the roper to go away.
Okay.
That may be a good thing. Okay, so how many cards do you have in your hand?
Well, I've got 4. I've got 2 blue, a red, and a green, which
Okay.
means I can. Well, so this is a colorless, right? The token,
It's actually 2.
It's 2
If you look
colorless.
on it, it'll take 2 colorless.
and then I could attack something here or several somethings, but it would all have to be colorless, or I can start looking at other people and
Okay.
try to help out.
Well, in this instance, while we would love for you to help out, you as the wizard have a pile of paint in front of you, so
Yeah.
you do not want to be looking elsewhere.
I'm collecting friends.
Okay, the other thing is, if you remembered, someone over here in a roguish ability bought a card that allows him, the backstab, to simply kill a level.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
with twist the knife, I can
So
take one
what he
full
could
level.
do is he could play twist the knife and kill the 4. What would that then allow you to do?
Then I could do both the blues and the red, it looks like. So we
Absolutely.
could kill this Minotaur in one
I think
swell.
that's a great move.
Let's do it. I will play twist the knife as an assist.
Awesome.
I will do 1 level damage on the Minotaur.
And then I'll go blue, blue, red, you're dead.
Perfect. Okay?
All right.
And then the vanquished ability. And again, there are in some instances you wouldn't want to use that because you want the gold, but in this, he is so terrifying.
We just want him off the
I
board.
think we just
So
want
we would
him
agree.
gone.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Roper go.
So then, what is the gold payout?
Gold payout is 6.
So in this instance, it's 2-2-1-1.
Okay.
You will quickly, after a couple of games, be able to do that math like it's no tomorrow.
Once
So
you
one
learn
for
the
me.
Monopoly board, you know
Exactly.
exactly
Once you knew
where-
it, you just know exactly how to make it work.
You said 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
I get 2.
You get 2.
And oh.
You may
And
have
there
to
you
do
go.
some exchanges.
Yeah, well, I'm
Okay,
going to buy some stuff pretty quickly.
So unfortunately, you are going to take 3 points of damage. That's going to be a pretty big hit for a wizard. Half
Ow,
the HP.
ow, ow.
Squishy wizard.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're going to replenish,
Okay,
which
so
is drawing the 2 cards.
2.
But the cards we
Alright.
played, they still go into our discard
Absolutely.
pile.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the assist that you played immediately into your discard. Okay. And then you get to buy.
And then I get to buy stuff. And
So-
I have a lot of gold.
I was going to say buying the cards seems really useful then because you still you are now adding those cards to your pool. that are
Absolutely.
replenishing
Yep.
your cards.
Absolutely.
So I've got 8 gold, so I can pretty much buy anything here. But if I want to stay on color, it'd be one of these 2, 4, 5, 6. Actually, I could get both.
You could, but you
But-
always want to do just one at a time because you never know the next card that comes up might be even better. So Misty
okay.
Step allows you to churn your deck. Okay? For a wizard, that's going to allow her to draw up to 3 cards and then discard up to 3 cards. So it's a
Okay.
really good way to quickly spin through cards to hunt for her lightning bolts and her fireballs, which do the most damage in the entire game.
Right.
All right.
And then Magic Missile is a great tokens card. It allows you to do 1 devotion color against 3 different targets. Or as an assist, she can do 1 colorless to 3 different targets. Really good for tokens. Particularly, now the zombie tokens both came up as 2 colorless to defeat, but most of the other tokens are only 1. So the Magic Missile is just a great bang, 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 3 tokens gone.
All right. I'm going to go with Misty Step because at the moment.
Fantastic card.
Yeah, at the moment there's not a ton
Yep.
of stuff for that
So then
guy.
that's 4 gold.
So this
and
goes
we
right into my
yep,
hand.
Right into your hand. So immediately pull that up. Oh, Rihanna's loving that javelin.
Well, then I want it. No. Well, then if
Actually,
that's
the javelin's
and that
good
was-
for anyone.
And that was 4, so I'll pay that.
So you could go ahead and grab the magic missile. You could actually go ahead and wait and see what else comes up for the next round.
No, I'm about to die, so give me the magic missile.
Okay.
Let's just
Sure.
do that. Why
Yep.
not?
And another magic missile.
All right.
Okay,
was
so
meant to be.
then
Exactly.
her turn is done. Okay, so we've done one round.
Okay.
So now the party leader, Dragonfire, goes down. We are now Dragonfire level 1. And she reads off the next card.
It is Frenzy. Your foes momentarily shimmer before your eyes. As the effect dissipates, you wonder if you're still seeing things. They appear taller and stronger, their eyes filled with inhuman rage. Each humanoid encounter heals 1 level.
Okay, so in this instance, neither one of these are humanoid, and they're not damaged, so we lucked out. But
Okay,
sometimes,
there's still one more part. I
Yep.
was just letting you speak. Continuous. The attack strength of each humanoid encounter increases by 1.
Okay, so once again, no humanoids. However, that card, if we had been at Dragonfire level 6, would immediately summon a card out of
Actually,
the secondary deck.
it's level 8.
Oh, level 8. There
So
you go. See, once again, she's keeping me on track. Okay,
You
so
played
then,
the game a time or two. It's,
absolutely. Okay, so then it is Rihanna's turn.
My turn.
So you still have to do this old enemies thing,
No,
or is this gone now?
Once it's in the discard, it is totally ignored.
Okay.
The only thing it does is act as a counter for how high the Dragonfire level is. So
Okay.
we are now officially at Dragonfire level 1.
Okay.
Okay, I can only really do. Maybe I would.
So in this instance, yes, she could. She only has 2 cards because she wasn't able to buy anything. She could hit the 2. I'm going to suggest to her, and obviously it's her turn, that I'm a little nervous about the wizard over there. We do not, because something might happen that could stop us. So I'm really thinking she needs to at least get rid of the token.
You don't want to see what happens when we get the wizard's track counter down
No,
to
I-
a stun?
no.
I mean,
don't-
all you
I
gotta do
don't
is
wanna
wait.
see
and
what
it-
happens.
Math means I'm gonna die. So
Yes,
I mean, if we
so-
want to see,
But
The
ultimately, it's up
greatest
to
monster of all.
exactly.
It's up
Time.
to Rihanna to decide if she's going to do that. Okay, so she is going to help the party here.
I'll just keep on
So she'll do
dying.
that. She'll take 2 more hits. Now, even for the fighter, it's starting to look, we really need to deal with the swarming zombie, but she could take it 1 more turn. So then she replenishes. And she buys. And she's got some good options now. Command Presence is a fantastic card. Now, so you can't really see it on here, but some of the martial cards, the black cards, have little swords off to the right.
Right.
And, but in fact, just so happens, the Javelin has 1 and the Command Presence has 2. So if at any turn...
The grapple has 1 too.
The grapple has 1 too. If at any time the martial player plays 3 swords, she immediately gets to draw a card.
Okay.
If she played up to 6 swords in 1 turn, she'd draw 2 cards. Just kind of little match sets
Little
that she
bonus
gets to
to
do.
match that. Okay.
Little bonus that the marshal gets. So what are you grabbing? Command Presence or that Javelin? They're both great cards. In fact, she could get both if she wanted. Oh, bless. Bless is arguably one of the best cards in the entire game. On the front part of it is simply just a Devotion 1 icon, but its assist allows you to do 1 damage of any color.
Oh, okay.
It's a color fixer for any one of those single colors that are stopping you up. Are you going to go ahead and grab the Javelin, or are you holding?
I'm just trying to determine between that one and that one.
Ah,
Chill.
yeah. Party leader. Teenage party leader.
she's got this.
Yeah, she's got it.
She's got it.
Now, can you can wait for the replenish card to hit the table from the one you've just bought to
absolutely.
determine if you...
Absolutely.
I'm going to get this one.
You're going to grab the grapple. So what grapple does then is grapple allows her to
another
play
plus.
it, to pull an encounter to her, and the turn that she pulls it, it doesn't attack her. So in this instance, if we're not able to actually destroy the swarming zombie
Yes.
after this next round, then she would likely pull it away from the wizard, so the wizard wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. So on my turn, I will immediately play a red and a green for the first 2 levels, and then even a blue to take care of that level. Now we're only 1 color off.
we just need a green on that.
Just need a green, so that's it. So it's my replenish. There's only 1 card I have to replenish, which means I immediately shuffle my discard and draw that second card that I needed. Okay, and then Bless is such an awesome card. Now Bless is good for anyone, but it also is green, so it's good for my skill checks.
Gotcha.
And I just can't resist having more blesses in my hand.
Bless everyone.
And oh, that would have been okay. So healing word there's a couple of cards that actually put healing back in the game. You can play it for 2 devotion damage on the turn. You as the person holding it, or you can play as an assist to heal any 2 players 1 hit point, which would be really good for the wizard, of course, squishy wizard. So then my turn is done, and it's your turn.
Okay, I have 3 cards in my hand.
Okay.
I have a green that I can play on the zombie horde.
Perfect.
In front of the wizard.
The swarming zombie goes down.
Awesome. So that's
discard
5 gold.
this.
Okay. So 5 gold. You're the active player, so it'll be 2 and 1 for the rest of us.
Woohoo!
Let's not
Thank
forget the squishy wizard.
All right, now, should I draw back up to my...
No, because we're technically still in the
Okay.
turn. It all depends on, did you want to play the other 2 there, or are
Oh.
you going to hold and play power?
Oh.
Because again, we're kind of, just for speed's sake, we're
Yeah.
speeding up a little bit, but technically you play all of your cards, then you apply all the damage.
I've got 2 cards. I will play 2 cards.
Okay,
So I'll
nice.
play those
So
2.
then Rihanna, put slider on the 2. So now you replenish 2 cards.
Okay, I only have 1.
So then once again, you're going to shuffle that into a new draw deck and draw your other card,
Okay.
and now you can buy.
I've got 3 gold.
So while there's opportunity out here, you actually, I think, would want to hold for expertise.
I was laughing because literally the card is opportunity.
No.
It's not, there's an opportunity.
Yes.
Okay.
But what opportunity does is that normally you can only buy at the end of your turn. Opportunity would allow you to play it and immediately buy something from the market to use right in that moment.
Okay.
But you need more gold to then be able to buy that.
But your recommendation is wait for the expertise.
And
wait
the
for
reason
4 gold.
and the reason why is what expertise allows you to do is you discard a card to go into your discard and pull out a deception card,
Okay.
like twist the knife. So the twist the knife and the expertise is the quintessential rogue combo that you are looking to build into your hand.
Then I will
So
be
it's significantly,
done.
definitely.
I have no monster. Nothing's
You have
damaging
nothing.
me.
So then it rolls over to Lorne.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think what I'm going to do, so I've got Misty Step, which I can use to go after that blue.
Absolutely.
And then it also says discard up to 3 cards, then draw that number of cards.
Correct.
Which is helpful because I don't have a green at the moment.
So you might. Okay.
So
then
if I play
when you
that-
so then when you play a card, this is one of those times when you do the effect first. Okay. You're not actually applying the damage first. You will play the effect first.
Okay. Alright.
So she's going to go ahead.
So I'm
No,
gonna-
no. You get to draw first. You're down here into the arcane class.
Oh.
Okay, so this is actually a great card that shows that a lot of the cards can be used by multiple players.
But if it's
the
color matched.
color matched, you get an extra boost.
Okay.
So the normal Misty Step for the rest of us non-arcane slags is discard up to 3 cards, then draw that number of cards. For the arcane, she gets to inverse that. She gets to draw 3, then discard. Way better in that fashion.
All right,
So she draws
so
3.
1, 2,
Oh, she's got it.
and there's the green.
Now you got
So-
to discard the 3 you drew.
Well, then I'll get rid of those.
Yeah, there's a ton you can discard.
Yep.
So now
I'm
that
gonna
effect is done.
Okay.
Now she can play the rest of the cards that she is going to want to play with that she got up,
Boom.
and she immediately kills the zombie.
Dead.
Yay!
Dead.
And 5
so
gold,
play out. So
yay.
2, we get 1.
Please.
You get 2. Change.
There we
Exchange that 3 for the 1. Okay. So then go ahead and replenish. So you have 3 cards, which is perfect. If she had had 4 cards, there would be no reason for her not to discard one of them because she's going to get 2 cards.
Right.
So it's a better exchange. Now, if she had 5 cards, then it kind of depends on what she might think she can draw. But in this instance, she just draws 2
Okay. And then I
there,
have to
and then you got to shuffle.
shuffle those. And then buy things.
Yep, you get a buy.
Or I guess I'll take another magic missile. Because
That's
why
a good card.
not?
Why not? Good card to have.
And then I'm done and all the monsters are dead
Okay.
and we win. Yay! right?
So now, well, almost.
Oh.
So what's going to happen though is we did in fact complete
Oh,
scene.
so we're getting close to the top of
Oh,
the hour.
actually, this
so
this is perfect
All
because
right.
what's going to happen then is we finish scene 1.
That was
okay?
scene 1.
This was scene 1.
Okay.
And
Okay?
C.
And
And
C.
scene.
Okay. So then you move into the short rest. And the first thing that happens in a short rest is, remember we talked about, we get to bury this card
Yep.
so it doesn't up it. Okay. Then starting with the player to the left of the player that finished the scene. Okay. Sorry. First, everyone would heal 1 point up
Yay!
to their maximum. Okay. So if you didn't get hit at all, tough for you. You should have thrown yourself a little more into monsters.
I was
okay?
sneaky. I was
And
in
then
the back.
starting with Rihanna, she would get a chance to buy 1 card. Is there any of those that you want to buy?
Yes.
That javelin?
Yes.
Looking good. Okay. So then on my turn, I could buy Cure Wounds, but Healing Word is better, so I'm going to go ahead and hold off. Now, during a short rest, you do not actually cycle if you don't buy.
Okay.
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 So are you going to buy?
I'm gonna buy
Oh, you
the
did because
expertise.
you got the expertise. Excellent. So once again, straight into your hand.
Okay.
Okay. And then Lauren, you get 1 last time to buy
Ounce
if you choose. Okay. So then that's done. So then you would go into the next scene, and the way that works is once again you would look at the card, and the card's going to tell you, and what that is, it's going to be the number of players plus 1. But the important thing, and this is where the Dragonfire comes in, you start from the secondary, more powerful cards based upon the Dragonfire level. So you can immediately see the longer it takes you to wrap up the first scene, the higher this gets, the harder this gets. So you cannot take time. You got to sprint through that dungeon. So in this instance, we would roll up the very first one, which is a Cyclops, and then it would go to red.
Okay.
So it would go to you. And then remember once again, we're just going around. Now remember what I talked about, how some of the cards can stop you from replenishing? Orc War Chief does that.
Oh.
It instantly makes him one of the most dangerous cards.
Well, and a big target. We're going to want to get rid
Absolutely.
of him.
Okay. Location. We didn't even get into that. Okay. Location cards. So you have these little markers. We're all here at the party. Okay. Wrong thing. Rihanna fell down in a cursed ground.
We've got,
she
we've
is
got
now
a few that we've thrown up on the
perfect.
screen here.
So she is now split off from the party.
Oh, no.
And in this instance, it has a surprise, which is discard 2 cards. Brutal. So Rihanna has to discard 2 cards. And then we roll up the Orog, and now this is 4, but remember it was a number of players plus 1, so you are going to get the next one. Oh, brutal, 2 locations.
That's, we just showed the.
We just showed it. And the surprise is summon any. Brutal setup. So then immediately summons a spider. So you can immediately see, okay, we went through, we did pretty good in scene 1, now suddenly scene 2 is coming at us. Now the difficulty with the locations is you cannot play normal card, like if I'm sitting here, I can't play a normal card there. I must either play an assist only if I'm damaging it, or go ahead and move into it. And if I move into it, it means I'm facing that location, so I get hit not only with this damage, but the damage of the location I'm facing.
And the location have damage trackers just like a monster
Just like
to
a
fight them
normal,
off.
yep, you fight them off just normally, but it creates this great movement and separation, and oh my gosh, she fell down in that terrible trap hole, how are we going to get her out? Creates some wonderful additional dynamics.
All right.
So that's how it plays out.
That's great. So this is scene. This would we set up for scene 2.
Starting with scene 2, and because the round ended right here, Rihanna would be the next player, so she would immediately roll up the next Dragonfire, and then we'd go and see if we could take this down in scene 2, and then we'd do it again one last time for scene 3 for this game.
So as mentioned, a game is 3 scenes.
This particular
particular
game,
game.
Dungeon Crawl. Now, most of them, again, remember there's 8 of them here. Most of them will be 3 scenes. Some of them, like Wastes of an Ancient Empire, are 3, but some of them are only 2 scenes. Some of them, if you really get far away, are actually 4 scenes. But if we completed this,
Yes.
we would then get experience points. Okay, you'd get 5 experience points each of us, which would immediately, if we wished, allow us to start grabbing the 5-point experience features that just add additional cool stuff. And then, if we completed it, we would also start rolling out magic items, which are really cool, foiled, awesome. And there's different rarities of magic items. We would only get a common at this level. We'd have to play through quite a few games before we could then rotate up to the uncommons.
And those stay with you for the campaign,
Well,
per
if
game?
the
or?
commons don't, because commons are consumables.
Okay.
So this is kind of one of those legacy things
Yeah.
where I use it and it goes away.
Goes
It's
back
gone.
in the-
I drank that potion. I don't get it back.
Right.
Now, every time you finish a new adventure, you're going to get a new magic item. Then once you get up into the cool uncommons, then some of those still will have an ability. So like the summoning gem here, I can just play it for green and I'm good to go. Or I can consume it for a green and 2. So sometimes I'm like, it's 1 point good, and then you got to decide, do I really need that extra hit to do the extra power? But it's going to go away. Is it worthwhile? And then once you get up into the rares, are just the really cool giant weapons that just stick with you for the whole time you're playing that character.
So now we succeeded in scene 1.
Yep.
What would have happened if the wizard had died?
So what happens? Well, there's a couple of ways. It's not an instantaneous thing. First of all, there is never death. Okay, you're always going to be taken back to the chapel. There's going to be a priest there. He's going to bring you back. You're all good. Okay, but what happens? So if I was right here and I took my 2 points of damage from the Orog, no matter how much damage I'm taking, I'm just going to go stunned.
Okay.
Okay. And what happens when I go stunned is, except for the half-orc, which has a cool anti-stun ability, I'm going to take every card that I have, my discard, draw pile on the cards in my hand, I'm going to shuffle them all together, and then I'm going to draw only 1 card. I'm also going to take an exhausted token. Okay? What the exhausted token means is that I only draw 1 card during the replenish phase.
Okay.
The exhausted token also means that if I ever go stun again, if I ever take damage again while I have the exhausted token, I'm immediately unconscious and I'm out of the scene.
Okay.
Okay? Now, if we go into the short rest, okay, and I'm only stunned with the exhausted token's going to go away. I'm going to heal 1.
Right.
Okay, it's a little dangerous, but I'm still back in the game. If I'm unconscious in the short scene, I'm still going to come back, but you are right at death's door, so you're still going to keep the exhausted token. So whoever runs into that. The other thing, though, is if I go stunned, the monsters are going to stay in front of me. If I go unconscious, I go down, the monsters immediately run to the left. Okay? So it creates this cascading effect. So you can see it coming. You have 1 entire round. No matter what you do, if I go stun, you're now suddenly going to realize, okay, if we can't heal him, these are going to cascade. What do we need to do? And sometimes you can't stop the cascade. It just can wipe the whole party out.
And that's
total full party wipe.
And that's how you would lose the game.
Absolutely. That's how you would lose the
Gotcha.
game. Is
Okay.
if everyone is wiped out. In some of the more advanced games, there are some very specific things that you have to be able to accomplish. But generally, it's about if just one, we could all be stunned and down out of the game. But as long as, actually, she could even be stunned. Oh, no, she can't be stunned. She could even have this, though. And as long as Rihanna drags herself across the finish line with even just 1 hit point, you guys won. Everybody gets experience points.
All right.
Now, the nice thing is even if we lost the game,
Yeah.
for every scene that you start, you're still getting some experience points.
All right.
So you could immediately play this. Let's say you lost twice in a row, which is very possible, but you're most likely going to immediately be able to get a sticker. You're going to be a little powerful, a little more knowledgeable. By the 3rd game, you're most likely going to be able to take it down.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, we're getting the wrap-up sign so that
I
we
can,
are
I
moving
can,
on
go,
to
I
our...
can talk on and on, as anyone will say.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. We'd love to have you back on. We can do another encounter.
Let
at a
me
future
know.
date.
I'd love
That would
it.
be
We could
awesome.
switch it out to something different, start showing some of the bigger creatures. I'd love it. Just let me know.
That would be great. Let's
Is there a
plan on that for
Tarrasque in
future
there?
week.
There is not. That is
Okay.
way off the...
You said bigger creatures, and I got worried.
Yeah, no. That's ridiculously big. Even just in here, though, Stone Giant Cloaker, the Fomorian is really nasty. Night Hag, Galabdur, which is fun. Stone Golem is probably the most dangerous one in the Dungeon Difficulty 2 deck. And then they're in the box. There's actually even a handful of difficulty 3 cards. You'll probably play through a good dozen or 2 dozen games before you'd face those. Because if I have them really quick here to look at, you can see how terrifying they are.
Storm giants.
A level 8 that can't be dealt damage, triple black, double 2, and so on. They get really terrifying.
Oh. And
the adult green dragon that does 3 damage, and everyone makes skill checks, and if you fail, everyone in the party takes damage.
Oof.
Yeah, it's a dragon, and he should be pretty
Of
scary.
course.
So,
Yeah.
but you'll work up to that. You'll look at this right now and go, when are we ever going to be able to do that? You absolutely be able to work up until you can kick his butt.
Well, so again, just to reiterate, Dragonfire, which we played through a scene, 1 of 3 today,
Yep.
coming out tomorrow, November 15th.
Absolutely.
Look for it in your friendly local game store. You can find out more information on the Dungeons & Dragons website in the product section, and of course at the Catalyst Game Labs website.
As well as dragonfirethegame.com.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for coming in and
Thanks for having
showing us
us.
a bit of the game. Until next time, remember we're going to be off next week for the holidays, and we will do another round of Dragonfire in a future week. That'd
Just
be
let
great.
me know. We'll be here.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.